Be prepared!
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather, whether or not. There it is.
Good morning, Prince George. Good afternoon, Winnipeg. Hello, Kamloops and television viewers on Rogers TV. This is the Comedeorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals Comedeorology. It's your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada, and I am your host, Mr. Joey Only, up here in Wells, British Columbia. Yes, up here in the Cariboo Mountains. Yeah, it's where I am, and I'm here though with other people. We got a panel of them all. Of course, you know we always got the world famous Frankie McDonald on from Sydney, Nova Scotia. He's got weather stories happening there this week. And we've always had Hilding from Grassy Plains, British Columbia, an old friend of mine. Cowboy Hilding's here once again. And Chris Calais here, the meteorologist from Portland. That's everybody. You're listening to us on C4 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9 FM in Winnipeg. That's Prince George, Winnipeg. Kamloops 92.5 FM, CFBX, Rogers TV. All right. Is everybody ready to go? Let's go then. Good evening, Frankie. How you doing so far?
I'm doing great so far. Sydney, Nova Scotia just had 10 to 20 centimeters of snow just now. Then they got a lot of rain heading for Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday coming up. It's going to bring lots of rain this Saturday coming. And did you hear about this? Lots of rain aiming towards Sydney, Nova Scotia on Saturday. It's going to bring really cold air all the way down Atlanta, Georgia, all the way down South Carolina, North Carolina. It's going to bring really cold air in Ontario, Ohio, in Indiana, and Illinois, and all these places. Is going to bring warmer than average temperatures in Southern California after a big rainstorm this weekend coming. Then you got warming up in Manitoba. On Monday, it's going to be a short period of warm air on Monday before the snow comes and turns really cold once again. It's going to be sharp temperature drop on Monday coming up in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Then you got some really dry air in New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and California. Till more rain hitting towards California this Monday coming up. In Los Angeles, getting more rain on Monday as well. It's going to bring lots of snow in Nevada. And snow might even reach Las Vegas as well. Salt Lake City and all those places. Then you got snow heading towards Colorado and parts of New Mexico and Mexico border too. And the weather down South America. Weather in South America. They're bringing lots of rain and thunderstorms all across eastern Brazil right now. All across Colombia, Ecuador, parts of Peru, parts of Bolivia, and Ecuador. In those places, in northern Chile, is really dry. Right now, in southern Chile, it's raining in the coast areas, snow in the mountains, and lots of fires going on in Santiago, Chile. Their fall starts in March. And there's a big storm going on in Norway, Netherlands, Denmark, and all these places right now. There's a big storm in Denmark right now, Netherlands, and Germany, and France, and England right now, in Wales, Scotland, Ireland. There's a really high winds going on up around, heading towards England, France, Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Algeria, and high winds is aiming towards Libya on Sunday. Then I got a big storm hitting for France on Monday as well. It's going to intensify. It's going to hit Libya. Late next week, it's going to be stormy and the normal weather up around Italy, Libya, Algeria, and all these places. And the weather all across Japan. Lots of rain going on in southern Japan. It's really cold in Sapporo, Japan. Up around places like in North Korea, South Korea, Vladivostok, Russia. It's cold outside. It's really cold. Those northern China. It's really hot in southern China. Really cold northern China. Lots of rain, thunderstorms going on in Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, those places. Lots of showers going on in the Philippines right now during the dry season. So is Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos. They're still in the dry season right now. India's in the dry season. Tiny little showers in the forecast. Parts of India. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Tanzania and Eastern Africa near Kenya border, all across parts of Mozambique. It's really, really hot in South Africa right now. It's so hot there right now. It's summertime still. Last week in meteorological summer. South Africa is next week. And lots of rain thunderstorms going on in southern Congo and Angola, Kenya, and all these places. And the weather down Oceania, like Southwest Pacific, Southwest Pacific, like lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in northern Australia right now. There's some low pressure system heading towards New Zealand, rain and forecast in South Island, North Island, New Zealand. And Antarctica is starting to get some darkness, and up in the Arctic starting to get some daylight.
Yeah, Frankie. Imogen has just showed up. So we now have Imogen Cookie Bailey down there in Victoria. Good to see her.
I just did a latest video on the YouTube about my forecast for Eastern Africa.
I'm just setting up your video segment. So we do have Imogen just showed up, and we don't have Brandon tonight. So no Brandon Hauk.
Because the Brandon broke Spain into plane.
Well, he's in Calgary right now. And he's got a Calgary Flames jersey on, and he's sitting. I think I have a picture here. Him and his dad are at the Flames and Bruins game, or something to that effect. Anyways, no Brandon this week. It's a terrible tragedy because we love having Brandon. We're gonna have to all work a little harder to be weather-like and charming and funny and special, like Brandon so often is. So, does everybody want to see Frankie's video? This is Frankie's new video, Thunderstorms with Heavy Rain to hit Tanzania on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. That's tomorrow, isn't it? Or is that today?
Today.
It's today. Hey, happy 6-month birthday, dog.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live from Sydney, Nova Scotia. A lot of rain and thunderstorms will continue in Tanzania, Africa on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2024. It's going to bring a lot of rain and thunderstorms that will cause lots of flooding, mudslides, landslides near Kenya border. It's going to bring a lot of rain and thunderstorms in Tanzania, Africa. It's in Eastern Africa and near the Kenya border. It's going to bring a lot of thunderstorms close to Mozambique. It's going to bring lots of rain and thunderstorms. Right now it's a rainy season in Tanzania, Africa. As right now, be prepared. Watch out for landslides, watch out for mudslides. And it will not be a good time to head to Tanzania, Africa, because a lot of thunderstorms and rain going on right now. It's a rainy season in Tanzania, Africa as of right now. Be prepared. Watch out for floods, raincoats to keep it dry. For people living in Tanzania, Africa, be prepared, since it's going to bring more rain and thunderstorms near Kenya border as well, and near Mozambique as well. If anybody living in Tanzania, be prepared for lots of thunderstorms and heavy rain on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. Take care, stay safe, don't get caught in it. Thunderstorms and heavy rain. Stay dry, be safe.
So big time storms in Tanzania. So a shout out to all our viewers in Tanzania. You be prepared for what happened today already.
Tanzania is Eastern Africa.
Yesterday for
the forecast far away from home.
But that's good for everyone to just get a picture of what's happening on the other side of the world, right? It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Who's got questions for Frankie McDonald?
I have a question, but I think that the top of Kilimanjaro probably gets some pretty crazy thunder snow this time of year with those thunderstorms moving through, and freezing levels probably a little bit below the summit. The summit of Kilimanjaro is about 5,000 meters, give or take. So,
yeah,
I think
it's like walking like this for 20 kilometers.
Yeah. But it's one of those ones that you can at least climb without having technical expertise. It's basically a walk up, So
yeah, and one where you can, not leave your frozen carcass behind after spending $80,000 to go there.
So I think it right now is not a good time to be attempting Kilimanjaro, given the heavy weather.
Chris Calais, meteorologist Chris Calais. So I was irked today. I was sort of talking about it in the pre-show. There's a BC weather guy there. He's kind of a nemesis or something, I guess, of a sort. But he made this post today, and it says, a major snowstorm is possible for the BC South Coast next Monday or Tuesday as a low pressure system slams into the cool Arctic air. Snowfall amounts are unknown at this time, but models are saying the potential is there for a significant winter snowstorm. So I just find that this particular page, it's always got sort of clickbait, no substance.
What about City of Vancouver?
tell us, Chris, how crazy is this? I mean,
I don't think this is. I do know a meteorologist in Vancouver, but his name's Tyler Hamilton. I don't think this is him because he's a professional.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, like, you know, a major snow event. This is not really the setup for it. This is kind of just cold onshore flow coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. Pretty typical for this time of year. I feel like most of the time in February or March, we see like a week or two that's kind of low snow levels, somewhat convectively unstable, air mass that's coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. Actually, this time of year, the upper levels are at their coldest, because there's a seasonal lag between the lower levels and the upper levels. So you got, you see that more up north where you actually have the coldest month usually in February or March as you get up towards the Arctic Circle. But aloft, you also have the coldest air generally this time of year. And so some of that comes down into our area, and due to the sun angle increasing, you get, a little bit more solar radiation. You can kind of get a little bit more instability, showers, etc. This is the kind of pattern that overnight, gets us on the coast, at least, gets us maybe a quick inch of the, I guess, in not to use imperial units, but like, 2 or 3 centimeters, maybe.
Canadians know what an inch is.
Yeah. So, temperatures around, +1, +2.
They know what 5 inches is and 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah. So anyways, but this is a really good snow pattern for the Cascades and for the BC Coast Range. Potentially for parts of the BC interior, depending on if we can get that moisture to make it over the Coast Range. A little bit harder to do that up in BC because it's about 2,000 or 3,000 meters compared to a little bit lower down here. But yeah, I mean, I expect for resorts, at least in Oregon, Timberline, Mount Hood, potentially down towards like Crater Lake, Mount Bachelor, could easily pick up somewhere around a half meter of snow over the next about 10 days or so, I guess. So
I'm seeing some snowfall amounts here in Wells. We could see 20 to 30 centimeters or something in the next coming days, 3 to 5 days or whatever, and that's not crazy for you. Often February to March, we can get some significant snow. In fact, even getting, I think our average is still 78 centimeters for April or something crazy like that, our seasonal average in Wells. So
that's pretty substantial. I think Portland's seasonal average is on the order of maybe 5 or 6 centimeters. So
it's a big time. Big time.
Yeah,
well, but the thing is so it's kind of a case of like, not to interject here. It's a case of like, 1 year we'll get 10, 15, 20 centimeters, maybe even like 30 centimeters. Another year we'll get, we'll have years with 0. So it kind of averages out to 3, 4, 5 centimeters.
It would be very unlikely for it to stay very long, though.
No. Maybe a week once in a while if we get a big storm and then some cool air. So I hate driving in that. I hate driving in that stuff though. So like freezing rain's the worst. So the sooner it's gone, the better for me. So
I know I find what I like about up here is that we generally stay on the cold side for a good 5 months solid, right? So
yeah,
it snows, but it's light, it's easy to deal with. Sure. The roads aren't crap; they stay frozen, and then you get down, you drop 2,500 feet, and you come down to the bottom of Quesnel, and it's every day it's wet and everything kind of half melts, and the solar radiation. You did say that we were having chilly days. The air is chilly, but the sun is very powerful already. So,
well, we made it to about 15 today, which, man, with the sun out, I know Brian Schmidt posted about it in Portland, but man, I'm definitely getting the spring vibes down here. So,
I wish. No, I think we're into some chilly nights still next week. Some very chilly nights ahead. Yeah. And I need to go get firewood, but I'm scared to because I might get accused of being the one responsible for 40 cords of wood going missing from our community forest.
I mean, I think it would be more logical to blame like a beaver or something. Maybe you chewed through 30 cords of wood overnight,
I suspect it was probably something as innocent as a logging truck driver not knowing that one pile was supposed to stay.
Yeah.
There was 2 loads. There was 1 deck of lumber that was to go to West Fraser Mill, and there was 1 deck of lumber that was to stay for the community to be used because it was a B grade. It wasn't, they picked the best stuff to send to the mill, and then they put on the Wells community page. Yeah, there's some firewood here, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just suddenly all missing. And then people are like accusing me at town hall. I wasn't there, but I'm getting it secondhand after. Oh, well, maybe it was that Joey only. I'm like, my truck hasn't moved in 5 weeks. Now, the cabin fever of this town is it's always been there. You know, the darkness of the middle of the winter where people start getting squabbly about weird stuff. But yeah, I feel like picking fights around here these days. I'll tell you more about that later. Imogen, how was your week down there? It seemed like you had a good fashion show this weekend. You've been busy.
Yeah, pretty much. I did the Fashion Splash 2024 just a couple of days ago. So that was a lot of fun. Represented some pretty cool designers, got to share the runway with a lot of very talented models. So it was super cool. Good fundraiser for the Victoria Women's Transition House. So that's what I did. And then lots of editing.
Joey, down in the United States of America, they have a higher speed limit down in the States than in Canada.
What happens if you go 1 million kilometers an hour, Frankie, on the
It'll be
Autobahn?
like finger snap, like look.
What? Hold on, can you repeat that, Frankie?
It's like when it go like click.
Yeah, if you're going like 280,000 kilometers a second or something, you know, it's just like.
Oh, that's how that works.
That's what
See,
your car is.
I thought if you went fast enough in one direction, you just started reversing time. Isn't that how Superman did it? Went fast in one direction to push the Earth around. But you got to go real fast to get the momentum, to get the push behind that, to get that going, to get that, you know, to have that push. Is that what Frankie's trying to tell us? He's unlocked time travel? Sort of?
I think the way you do is you slingshot around the sun, you know, and
No, that's what they did in Star Trek.
some kind of a Klingon bird of prey thing.
I'll,
Going warp 9, which Klingon bird of prey is not designed to do. But if you got Montgomery Scott, you can do whatever you want.
Well, that was how they did some time travel in Star Trek, but that was also how they sort of worked out space travel, getting cheap transport to the moon, and the moon is a harsh mistress. That was science fiction from like the 40s, but they kind of worked it out to be able to do it, where you slingshot people around the moon to read the book.
No,
It was good.
That's what they still do. They slingshotting things all over the galaxy now. They're just slingshotting, or the solar system, I should say. They're slingshotting things this way and that way onto. We gotta have close-up images of asteroids that are so fantastic.
Okay,
And,
astronauts whipping rocks at passing aliens is not the same thing as actual space travel.
They got
let's face it.
close-up photos of actual asteroids. Like this is an asteroid floating around out there in the middle of nowhere. And but every photo you've ever seen of a UFO of the aliens looks like the photo always looks like a weird spot on an old potato.
You have some weird looking potatoes, man.
You're like, look at that spot. See, there's a UFO there.
So you guys probably heard about the asteroid that was supposed to pass close to Earth. Was that today? I think it was Thursday, February 22nd. It's the size of 6 Indian peacocks. So, you know, not only are we not using metric or imperial, we're now measuring asteroids in terms of peacocks.
You guys really, really are averse to the metric system.
And is this a female peahen, or is this an actual male peacock with his feathers like entirely showing, you know? Because the size difference is huge. So if you've seen a peacock.
It really is.
So,
A peahen is a chicken size, but a full exploded peacock is
Where does America get
version to
these
metric?
weights and measures from? Like the Bible, or?
well, the more disturbing thing is this was apparently on a NASA website. So like, this is disturbing on multiple levels. This is NASA. These are people that we're entrusting with space missions. I mean, besides SpaceX, but like,
you have to understand what they're trying to do, though. What they're trying to do is appeal to America, who's just by and large, you know, unless you could say it's 6 Indian peacocks, to be like, you know, it's 87 hamburgers wide. And they'd be like, oh yeah.
So when I lived in Utah,
they're trying to get them interested in science. You know, you got to speak their language.
Exactly. When I was in Utah, I think it was maybe circa 2009. We had a big bolide meteor that came down and exploded probably about midnight one night out in the West Desert, and it was visible over probably most of the Western United States. But it was the size of apparently a washing machine. So picture, you know, maybe 3 foot by 4 foot by, I don't know, 2 or 3 feet. And
Like an industrial washing machine or just an average one, like a household
I think
washing machine?
I guess just an average, but like, man, it lit up. It was like noonday. People caught it on like their dash cams and, their Ring cameras or whatnot, or whatever they had. I missed it because I was playing Mario Kart against a buddy of mine, and we were just freaking playing, and we saw this big bright flash into the room, and we just thought it was some car headlights, shining into our house. But yeah, so I missed like arguably the coolest, celestial phenomenon in my lifetime.
Did you ever hear the story of
Mario
Ruth
Kart?
Hamilton?
Mario Kart, yeah.
You missed aliens for Mario Kart, and it was compared to a washing machine.
There you go.
Did you ever hear the story of Ruth Hamilton? Have you ever? Is anyone familiar with the story of Ruth Hamilton? She's this British Columbia woman who was in her bed, sleeping, and a meteorite crashed through the house and hit her.
Jeez, did she survive?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have an article right here. Cosmic rock hurtled through space and time and landed in Ruth Hamilton's bed, a 470 million year old rock. It's pretty big, actually. It's a good-sized rock. And the house, broke the fall of it. And this was in Golden, British Columbia on October 3rd. What year was it? 2021, I think it was. Yes. So
Wow.
she's a 66-year-old woman, and she's in Golden, BC there, and an exploding sound, and her ceiling broke, and there was a 911 officer came and finally told her, I think you have a meteorite in your bed. Yeah.
Uninvited visitor there. Yeah.
So that's space. Yeah, that was quite the story when it came out.
Well, I think that put Golden on the map, huh?
It's a very lovely place, Golden, BC.
We know Golden,
So,
Colorado got put on the map thanks to Coors. So if you're a fan of Coors, that's from Golden, Colorado.
I guess insurance covered it, so that's nice. That's nice. And she's got a very expensive rock, a meteorite that she can sell, right? So
Yeah, that probably is enough to pay off her house multiple times over, at least judging by current prices.
are the Leafs going to win the Stanley Cup, Frankie? I think you're asking the wrong guy on the panel. Frankie, are the Leafs going to win the Stanley Cup?
They're going to try their best.
They're going to try their best. They are going to try their best. It was amazing last night watching Austin Matthews. It's the first period right now. They're playing the Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights. No score in the Leaf game, but last night it was amazing to see Austin Matthews 5 minutes into the game in Arizona, where he grew up, score his 50th goal of the season, and then shortly thereafter put in number 51. The guy's crazy, 51 goals in 54 games. I've been a Leaf fan a long time. I've never seen anything like that. Whether or not they win the Stanley Cup, I've been really enjoying the Austin Matthews era. It's been really awesome. Who's your favorite Toronto Maple Leaf, Frankie?
I remember Doug Gilmour.
Doug Gilmour. That's my all-time favorite. Austin Matthews has crept up. I think I love him now a little. He's up there with Sundin now, but it's going to be a long way to take Doug Gilmour. I mean, I have some memories of that Stanley Cup playoff run, especially in '93. Frankie, what are your thoughts on Adam Ginjo? I don't know who that is.
Who is Adam Gidjo?
I don't know. Who's Adam Ginjo?
I don't know.
And I guess we don't know. We can't offer thoughts on Adam Ginjo because he does not exist. So there you go. Hilding Donaldson.
Calves will never be delicate and friendly, even though
How you doing out there in Grassy Plains, British Columbia?
we're doing pretty good. We've been just having some nice, crispy, bright, sunny weather, but I'm really hoping we get some more precipitation. But we oftentimes get our heaviest snowfall in March, so I'm not that concerned yet. But it's getting close there, and we're not having much sign that it's coming, But yeah, we've been having nice weather.
I was showing you before the show that we are expecting snow to come into BC, and we've been looking at the drought conditions over until about March 1st, and we see an improvement in the caribou in the Prince George region. So we are expecting an improvement in the drought conditions. That's very important. Reports this week that there's still 52 fires burning last year from Alberta. We looked at the ArcGIS maps in the pre-show on the live stream. If you on radio or TV ever want to join us for the live streams Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, we gather on Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, and on the pre-show we were showing that. So 52 fires burning. We can see some of them on ArcGIS, the hot spots. They are there. Something I've been formulating about, and Chris might have some opinions on this. I'm kind of working on looking at. I'm trying to always make forecasts of like what could fire season be like. I'm trying to figure that out always, right? That's really important to what I do as a job, and it's important to people who watch me on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers and YouTube and whatnot. That's one thing I'm good at, especially they want to know. And when we look at kind of the El Nino pattern, it seems pretty likely that we're going to come into a situation in the spring and into summer where the water is still quite warm at the equator and also quite warm in the North Pacific. So this is a little bit of an odd duck if this happens. So I'm looking back, well, when's the last time that happened? 1991. What was the summer of 1991 like in Western Canada? Now only 23,000 hectares burned in British Columbia in 1991. So I'm not ready to anyways give a full look on this, but it is possible. When we look at 1991, temperatures were down at weather stations in BC in the interior, and precipitation was up, and fire activity was low. However, we got this drought situation going on. Does the rain come in time? Do we get June rains like usual? So I still don't know how to answer those questions. But thoughts, Chris? Thoughts? I
was talking to a friend the other day, and he was like, a farmer friend here. He was like, yeah, in 22, we had almost no snow in the winter, but then we had rain throughout the summer, and we got really good crops. We had trouble getting it baled up because it wouldn't dry, but we had lots of forage. So if we get our moisture in the spring and summer won't hurt anything. I mean, our amount of runoff we can build back up in the next few years. But what happened last summer to make us severely droughted was that we got no rain at all from April until the end of July. And the grass just didn't grow.
And looking at the drought situation, even if we have an improvement in the central interior British Columbia, that's not the case on the east side of the Rockies, where it's dry and getting worse, right? Mm-hmm. And a significant part of BC's active fires that are still left seem to be in that Peace region. That's where we expect things to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If I can kind of opine here, I think that actually we're going to probably see a pretty decent amount of rain this spring. I think we're transitioning out of the kind of a classic El Nino pattern in the Pacific. We're actually seeing some pretty decent cooling along the west coast of South America. Likely going to be heading into more of a La Nina situation next winter, but I think that the atmosphere over the northern hemisphere, especially the Pacific, is going to trend much more normal as we get into the spring months. That means we're probably going to see at least some appreciable rainfall across the interior. Kind of too early to know what the summer is going to hold, but I mean, I think at this point it can only trend better. A lot of the lack of rain is due to a strong El Nino. It's kind of textbook to see to some degree that happening across especially central and northern BC and northern Alberta. As far as like the warm water in the Pacific, it's not uncharted territory, but like Joey was saying, 1991, as I recall, that was a relatively cool summer here in the Northwest. Not as cool as 93. That was a very cool summer. But, I'd expect that, we're going to see pretty typical conditions this summer across Washington and Oregon as well. Next winter, fully expect that could be a pretty impressed, pretty substantial, at least normal snowpack winter across much of BC. So this is kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel thing, I think. And we shouldn't see a worse year than last year. If anything, a better year for fires across BC.
I'm starting to feel that. I am.
This month coming up, Bass Guys Studio's going to be torn apart. They'll replace with a whole new Bass Guy studio.
A whole new Bass Guy studio. We love Bass Guy. Frankie loves Bass Guy.
That means that the new Bass Guy studios, and they're getting rid of the old wires in the building where Bass Guy lives. They're getting rid of all of the old wires altogether, replaced with a whole new wires.
I've never really had this before, but I don't know if I could make it. I don't know if I want to spend 30 more minutes having to go to the bathroom this bad.
I think we'll forgive you if you.
Does someone want to talk about something for a minute?
Is it going to be 12-hour daylight, 12-hour darkness, and then it's time to get next one?
Well, I mean, the equinox, so isn't it pretty much everywhere 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night for, that day at least?
Both North Pole and South Pole.
Yes, and equator.
And equator at the same time.
Here's one for you. So I lived in Brazil for a couple of years, but on the actual equator, there's only about a 1 hour variation in daylight between the, during the year. So like between, January and July, there's only, during the January, I think they pick up maybe 13 hours, and during January or July, maybe 11 hours. So I was thinking to myself, that's kind of nice, honestly, to not have to deal with, the winter gloom.
No
or
kidding.
extreme summer light where it's light until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I think parts of BC, you don't even get fully dark on the summer solstice. Like, I think from Prince George north, there's no astronomical twilight, which means that the sun doesn't get far enough below the horizon to have true darkness for at least a couple days out of the year. So I think there at Grassy Plains where you're at, I think there's actual darkness, but it's pretty short during the solstice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
No,
I'm
when I
in
lived up
Victoria.
in Peace River country, it was we still had some darkness at 11 o'clock at night. But what really scared me was when I went down to Florida, and a friend of mine went to Guatemala, and he told me it was even worse there. That when it is dark at night, it is extremely dark. Down around the equator, because they have a full 12 hours with absolutely no sunlight. And that is something to think about.
I feel like
don't.
I went to Florida a few years ago, and it seemed like the twilight was pretty short. This was like August of 2019, and we were at the beach, enjoying the beach. And as soon as that sun goes down, man, it gets dark pretty quick. We survived, Joey, your absence. So I don't know what that says for you as the narrator and host of this show. If we could maybe handle it without you if we had to, but we did get it for 5 minutes. So
I think it's better the less I talk.
Yeah, we need Brandon. That guy's just too into hockey, man. Just really, wouldn't you want to be on the Comedeorology?
It's hard to say,
report, rather than watch hockey. I mean, come on, guys.
I mean, that's part of me was like, man, I shouldn't make a name for a show that's so hard to say that people aren't going to be able to say it. And then I thought, like, that's actually deeply funny.
Yeah, I think honestly,
people remember it as the show that they can't friggin' pronounce.
I think initially it was the name of the show that actually drew me to like check out the show, because I was like, okay, this is a pretty unique name, and I'll give it a shot, So
Comedy plus meteorology, because the weather is funny business. It is funny business. That's a small town life. Yeah. So this week I got accused of stealing 40 cords of firewood. Guy whose truck hasn't moved. Whose woodshed's empty. Who's doesn't seem to have the enthusiasm for cutting that much wood. Like, I need to get back in shape for fire season. Okay, I get it. Like, I've been eating way too much frozen yogurt, sure. But stealing 40 cords of firewood. But what's funny is these accusations came shortly after I began to speak out about a letter from, this is Barkerville Historic Town and Park. That's Barkerville. It's just up the road here. And you see, Barkerville and Wells, they used to be like this. right? Because we've always been to. People had to leave Barkerville, come live in Wells back in the day. In order for Barkerville to become a park, a rule was implemented. An agreement was made that the Wells and the park, Wellsians can always go in the park. They could always bring their family, whatever. People from the valley and the park are the same thing. That's the way it's always been. We had a new CEO take over who created a hostile work environment. A lot of people quit working at Barkerville who've been there for years. I call it a bully environment. And in retribution to the people of Wells, because not only have this core of bullies there running Barkerville Historic Park, which we care about very greatly here in Wells, not only have they made the work environment toxic, but they haven't necessarily done a good job taking care of the park. So they didn't hand out contracts for snow removal of buildings, and what happened was damage was done, over $200,000 to one building alone. And then these punitive measures come and say, well, for now on, the people of Wells have to pay to go into Barkerville. And of course, I was vocal about it. And I was saying Kate should be fired, the CEO, which I don't work for. But here's the letter from Barkerville. And so what happened was I went up the street. I walked up the street to go find my kid. I found my kid. So Amanda, who's the mother of his best friend, she brought them from Williams Lake up. And the two kids there. I went out to the house hotel. I find my son. There he is. I'm talking to my son. I get surrounded by Carrie and her security troop. And you haven't paid. You have to leave the park now. And I did. I'm standing in front of my son. What am I going to do? Throw a conniption or yell and swear or whatever. I leave the park. And I spoke out immediately about the treatment on, because it was Barkerville Christmas. It was Christmas, Barkerville Christmas. Went up the street to go find my kid at Barkerville Christmas. Today on December 17th, you illegally entered Barkerville Historic Town and Park without paying our event admission fee. Your unacceptable behavior is documented by multiple witnesses and captured on our video. My unacceptable behavior, which is basically walking up the street. And all they have to say is unacceptable behavior. Whatever that means. It's just paint a brush on something. Therefore, effective immediately, you are formally banned from entering the properties under Barkerville Heritage Trust Management. These properties include Cottonwood Historic Park, Barkerville, The decision has been made in accordance with the safety policies of our establishment and is non-negotiable. What's funny is I'm not the only one in town who's got this letter. That's what's going on when you come to Barkerville. That's my Tourism Wells shout out to boycott Barkerville. Thank you very much, everybody. I've said my piece for today.
So my question is there any kind of like legal recourse here, or is there any kind of oversight board?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to hear about it if they haven't already, because it's not just me. This is like a behavior that's now the people in Wells who aren't involved with Barkerville don't want to go to the place anyways. It's hostile. It's hostile what's going on here. And this town was the best place to live in BC. All these outsiders move in and they...
Yeah, I mean...
What made Barkerville what it is because it's a historic town that's taken back to the 1800s, and everybody dresses in costume and works there the town has been made up this way. But all of those people live in Wells, the people who work there. Now the people in Wells, anybody who is not actually going to wear a costume is not allowed to go in there unless they pretend they're tourists.
Unless they pay, which was never the deal.
So this is like a frontier version of Disneyland, or without the ride?
It wants to be now. That's what they're treating it like, and that's not what it was. It was historic park.
Yeah, I think the vision there is a bit off. Can you vote the CEO out, or is there some kind of...
I'm fighting her.
Yeah.
Straight up. I'm not letting this go. I got a great... I don't vote conservative, but I had a great time with conservative. He's going to be conservative candidate for BC MLA for the Caribou. His name's Sheldon Clare. He's a very good guy. Very good guy, actually. In fact, some of my very far leftist friends go, "Oh, you met Sheldon? He's a pretty good guy, actually." He's like, "Yeah, I thought so too." And I told Sheldon, because he's a placer miner. We're people who mined. I've worked mining. This is what we do in the valley. I don't do it anymore. I've left town to become a firefighter because I could sense starting years ago already how bad things were turning here, right? So we got this divisions going on, and people are mad. I speak out about being banned for life from a provincial park with no recourse. It's non-negotiable, and suddenly my name's getting thrown around for stealing 40 cords of wood from the community forest, something I would never consider doing. This is so you get an idea. There's some toxic things going on in the middle of cabin fever wells this winter, and it's been building up for a while. And some people need to lose their jobs, and some people need to know that Barkerville is not acting like a good employer right now.
Yeah, sounds like someone has it in for you, wants you out of there,
Or a friend of the community, and it's not just me.
Yeah,
it's not just me. Like our own mayor, who used to be the CEO of Barkerville.
And that means not even Brooks Bennett's hockey team is allowed in there.
Not even Brooks Bennett's hockey team will be allowed in there soon. Nobody. But these places require people. We know one of the complaints I heard from workers last year was they've had their hours reduced and changed, and it messed with people's EI. So people who couldn't even collect proper EI this winter because they had their hours changed. Like, what are people in Wells supposed to do in the middle of the winter if the main employer for most people doesn't help them get EI after a full season? Of course, the businesses are unhappy because people in Wells used to walk up the street to go to the Chinese restaurant to have Chinese food. I used to go to the House Hotel to have lunch. Used to bring my kids to the candy shop, walk up the street, go spend $10. They're losing out on money. They're afraid to talk because it's a bully culture, because they'll get a letter something like this. And you know what? Maybe next time you want to pick a fight with someone who doesn't have a radio show. Someone who doesn't have a history of activism. I've never been able to tolerate injustice. And when I see it happening in my community, I see how upset people are. I just think, wow.
How does the saying go? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if it was just about me personally, I'd just say, oh, well, I'm banned from Barkerville, to hell with them.
Yeah.
But it's not just about me.
No,
It's a thermometer. I'm a thermometer. I think
you're uniquely positioned to bring this whole thing to light and get it on the airwaves, get it to people who probably don't know about it. And that's not me being an American, but people there in BC, and hopefully the word gets out, and we get the right people looking at it.
This was punishment for me speaking out in the first place last year. And it says non-negotiable. And because punishment is non-negotiable, right? In accordance with our safety policies.
Well, you should have a right to
my unacceptable behavior in front of my child, sure.
You should have a right to plead your case.
My kid was so upset at watching his dad get thrown out at Barkerville Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, things could definitely be handled a lot better. It's like, okay, well, there's probably a misunderstanding here. Let's handle it as adults, So.
Well, you want to hear something even, this is the cherry on the cake, is I'm going to compare this now to another local business. And I'm not trying to pick fights between businesses because I'm sure they don't feel that way about each other. But I went to Troll Ski Hill, and I actually had my EI come in. I'm going to bring my kids, my ex-wife. We're all going to go skiing. So we did. And always, whatever pants I'm wearing, I just have to reach in my left pocket, and there'll be a bank card there, right? But I throw on the ski pants, and then I'm standing there, and I go to pay, and I'm like, oh, I don't have my bank card on me. And the lady at the booth at the Troll says, oh, hey, Joey, well, I'll write it down. And, if you can get us back sometime. I was like, no, I actually have money now. Like, don't do this. And my ex-wife's like, just email me the money later. I was like, okay, fine. But they're willing to lose $100 over nothing. They're just, oh, no problem. We'll write it down. That wasn't at Christmas time. Just go ski with your kids, Joey. That's what Troll Ski Hill is. That's what community used to be like in the valley as a whole. We had each other's backs. It wasn't a corporate environment.
It's good to be reminded of that, at least, in the face of all this other crap going on. So
Yeah, that and then just who stood up and defended me at I don't know what meetings it was. It was a community forest meeting or it was an official town hall meeting. But these people were arguing. Joey must be the one stealing 40 cords of wood. And I heard that and I just like crack. And I go and I walk into town hall and I sit there with Auntie Angie in the office and I say, am I allowed to go use the gym? Am I still the firefighter gym pass? I don't know what's real in this town anymore. What are people saying about me stealing wood? She's like, and then Angie tells me, oh, well, Jen defended you, counselor, and Josh did, and these people said, and they actually got quite upset at the people accusing. Anyways, and then you hear that afterwards and you go, that's the middle of winter in a mountain town.
maybe your calling now is politics, like local politics.
No. See, in this building is Josh Trotter Warner, and he's a counselor for the town of Wells. He's, and Josh, if I was out getting firewood, he'd be with me.
Yeah,
we live together. Josh, who's an engineer, a mad scientist. He's a very brilliant person. He's the politician, right? And he's good at that. He's not good at being a people person. Maybe I am more than he is, but he's good at writing down tasks in point form and achieving them, which I'm not.
He's got the head on his shoulders, and you got the mouse.
Yeah.
But apparently you're good at stealing 40 quarts of firewood without being seen.
Yeah, I'll go do the hustle work. After I got thinking about it, I was like, I guess I'm the only one man enough around here to take 40 cords of wood by himself. I guess that's a compliment or something.
Like the logistics of that don't even pass the sniff test either. I used to cut wood with my dad, and 1 quart of wood had me freaking beat. I was a kid, splitting 1 quart of wood is a lot of work. Heck, 40 quarts of wood, loading that into how many truckloads, and trying to get them out of there. It would be something else.
Here to break up my cabin fever episode of making war against everything. Here's Brandon Houck. He's in Alberta. He's in Calgary. He's at a Calgary Flames game. He's just showed up, and his cheeks are very rosy. Hi, Brandon. He's pounding it.
Brandon, how's it
Before
going?
he talks, he's pounding it so that he doesn't have it on TV.
You're at the hockey game.
You're muted though, Brandon.
How many hockey beers did you drink?
Brandon, hi. Thank you.
Better be at least,
Breathe.
better be at least 10
Breathe
beers in.
between sips, Brandon. Breathe and say your name.
Brandon, you're on mute again. The Ginger Gem is having difficulty working his mute button tonight, but that's a byproduct of hockey.
He's very happy.
He has gotten 1 hockey to the face this evening.
He took a puck to the face.
Can you hear us, Brandon Houck?
Still on mute, bud.
Brandon, you have to press you have to unmute.
You're on mute.
Okay, so for anyone watching this at home, panel view would be so much better. But no, we don't have that. We have this.
Well, okay.
Brandon,
I can do that. I guess I just don't.
I can't hear it today, but we're in the waiting for period number 3. Ready to go on.
Okay.
Who's winning, Brandon? Well, it's good to see your face at least.
Brandon is feeling the energy from the game. He's having a great time with his dad.
His face matches his shirt and his hair. Right
I take it back.
Very red.
He's definitely having more fun than us right now.
I think so.
Our Ginger Gem is always having a great time. He just exudes energy. It's weird. Even when he's quiet and slow moving like molasses, he's still a weird little sparkly rainbow and red.
Look at him go there. He's really having fun.
Unmute yourself, you ginger jerk.
So Brandon and I were talking about a little bit on social media about the that Arctic front that's coming into Alberta this weekend. This, I think Sunday. It's supposed to drop temperatures there in Brooks from about +10 down to -14 in one day.
Can you hear anything, Brandon? I don't think you can hear anything.
And once again, he's on mute.
There's your Western Canada weather report with Brandon Howick at the Calgary Flames game, and he's really enjoying himself there. That's what he's doing. That's excellent. Excellent work, Brandon. Great reporting from Calgary there. I guess we could find out what the score is without him. Hard to ask Brandon questions because he can't hear. It's 2-1 right now. Calgary is beating Boston. It's the end of the second period. Brandon's dad's a Boston fan, so that's always difficult for anybody to accept.
Brandon's still technically here. We just can't hear him. So on panel view, what we're seeing is Brandon having difficulty. He's fighting gravity at the moment. He's really into the game and his time with his dad.
Are we going to be allowed to show the image of him?
Well, I mean, the current one where we're kind of looking up his nose, yes, but
but not the one with the beer in his mouth.
No, we cannot. No, Brandon's really glued to that.
So that's why I had it on. That's why I had it on panel view because
you always have it on panel. You always have it on the solo view.
Yeah, it's nice. I started that because originally it just, if I put everyone's thing up at the same time, my computer would go, internet would go. That's all. And now internet's so much better. 3 years later, who would have known? Who would have known? So, anyways, that's mostly the show for this week. I'm sorry that I took so long to kind of. I was like, you know what? I kind of just hit that moment where I was like, I'm going to open the letter the other day. I spent months just kind of looking at it, sitting there. I was like, I know it says I'm banned from the park. I know it says that. And then finally I opened it and it's like, it doesn't say that. And just to process, I was like, we got no Brandon this week. Maybe it's time I just talk about this just a little bit. Spread kind of just a glimpse into what's going on here. And I'm sure a lot of small towns can relate. But, this has been a very positive place to live for a long time.
I found some interesting news you can use. I did post it in the chat earlier. I'll try to keep it family friendly. Apparently, a peer-reviewed paper came through about rat genitalia, and someone had used a AI image of a very large rat phallus on the paper. And apparently, it's not anatomically correct, the AI depiction. But it passed peer review, which kind of begs the question, how effective is peer review? Or at least in this case, it wasn't very effective to be able to get that through. So, I don't know.
AI really struggles with a lot of things. Like AI has difficulty with a lot of details of things, like AI hands specifically are always weird. They're always just really messed up. But when it comes to peer review of a lot of scientific based stuff, there's so much enthusiasm to be part of a new discovery and to be part of, I guess, the winning team. It's a weird kind of psychological phenomenon where everyone kind of wants to be right. And so the enthusiasm to come to the same result and to agree and to be one of the first to agree and to say, yes, I recreated that. That's correct. There's a certain amount of high fives that go with that. And so, yeah, a lot of peer review stuff. If when that information of who reviewed it and how the reviews were actually done, a lot of it actually doesn't hold up. That doesn't mean
there's a simpler explanation.
All, but there is
maybe
a lot
no one
of
just
that.
wanted to look at the rat genitalia. They're just like, don't look at it.
It was very
weird
impressive.
looking.
I was almost. I mean,
yeah, I saw that.
It almost made me jealous. The size of that. But think back to the peer review aspect. It's almost like a little bit of a circle jerk of sorts. I mean,
it is
family friendly, but and that calls into question the whole point of peer review is not just the validation of the scientific method and the process used, but also you may have overlooked something, or, it's to avoid groupthink. Because if science is dictated by groupthink, and especially by politics, then we've deviated completely from the scientific method into a territory where it doesn't even look like science. It's not even, this is politics now, and none of us want that. We shouldn't be spending public money on that and calling it science. Obviously, that's my little soapbox,
But
So.
yeah, and a part of why that that consensus is so easy to reach is because that also by having the results replicated, whether it's valid or not, also can lead to more funding being provided for more research to expand research. So sometimes when there's not quite enough funding to do what needs to be done, those results will be fabricated to get the funding with the solid belief that it will be done. And I mean, the ethics of that are a whole other thing. Like, it's just, it's not correct, but like, there's a lot of reasons why it happens. And again, that doesn't mean dismiss everything or, whatever. There's a lot of valid stuff that comes out. But as the AI rat bits kind of highlighted, this is an area where, there is room for error, we'll say.
What do you think the chances are that Brandon gets kicked out of the game tonight? Or he gets a letter like this or something. Dear Brandon Houck, you were banned from, you drank too much. You're now banned from Saddle Dome.
No, Brandon's snacking on hockey food now.
And,
I don't know what that is, but it looks like
non-negotiable
whipping cream.
I mean, I'm sure there's people there that could drink.
They're playing against the
Brandon
Boston
under the
Bruins,
table.
that Tim Thomas's former team.
The Boston Bruins is one of the teams I hate the most in hockey history.
Brandon, what are you eating?
I believe it was chicken. I spent some time looking.
Nope.
It looks like he's dipping chicken in some kind of a sauce and getting the sauce like on his face.
It's a bowl of whipping cream. Brandon, are you eating a bowl of whipping cream? Very chewy whipping cream.
If you want to follow me on social media, my Blue Sky's at Frankie MacD. My Twitter's at Frankie MacD. My Linktree is Frankie MacDonald. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD984. My TikTok is FrankieDonald984. My Clapper is FrankieDonald984. My Twitch is FrankieDonald984. My Snapchat is FrankieMacDon. My YouTube channel is Docs Wolves, and my LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. Best of luck to you. I'm Frankie Donald. You're listening to Joey Only Show Community Meteorological Weather Report every Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Atlantic.
Yeah, that's right. You're hearing us on C4 88.7 FM in Prince George, CKW in I already screwed it up. In Winnipeg and CFBX, Kamloops, and Rogers Television. Thank you, Rogers Television, for still having us on.
That's the show.
Right. That's the show. And on Joey on the Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube channel. And you can find all of us on the internet. You can find Frankie MacDonald on YouTube, Dogs and Wolves, Imogen Cookie Bailey, Imogen.in. out there. And Chris Kelly, I don't know if he's got a website or anything like that, but you might find him if you're out in Portland. And speaking of Portland, hi, Brian. I see that you're watching the live stream right now. And shout out to Portland Weather Uncensored. Thank you for sending me your brilliant friends. And, it's great because now we have Chris and Mark showing up, and that means we don't need Brian so much.
Many of us have served long Facebook jail sentences. It's a blast, man. I mean,
Brian's not actually a meteorologist either, so it's good to have a meteorologist.
I do love when he's on the show. It's hard to get him on, though. It's really hard to.
Yeah,
camera shy.
He's pretty busy. He's a good guy, though.
He's hilarious. Very hilarious. Hi, Mark. When you see the show, I hope you have him come on next week again. And Joe Stover and all our friends and Olivier. We got all the panel that's just not here. Hope they come back someday. We could use that. Okay, that's the show this week. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Stop it. Oh, he did too. Right on.
Okay, we're getting out of here. Okay. And Iverson 169.
I think today was a long shot to win.
My boots, yeah, I can't really see them. They slave them until they have nothing left.
Yeah, we got water and it's great pressure.
They're full of water, so squish, squish, squish.